Welcome to our program Weekly News. As we know that Weekly News is resuming all the news during all the week. Like that, we will discuss the news with Islam, and it's presented by me, Aisha Sfaxi. Weekly News is coming from Ankara, Turkey. So Islam, by this video, as you see, actually I'm wondering about what is the aim for Turkey to deploying military vehicles to Syria.
Thank you, Miss Aisha. As you say, as you watching this video, it even shows like Turkey, they are again employing or deploying more military vehicles to the border. It actually we saw like that the reality between there's especially the inside Syria, even the Iraq, the conflict and the violence and even the crisis is still ongoing. I mean, there's it shows like the conflict is not resolving. Even the border area of Turkey, the terrorist attack like by PKK or also YPG, and Turkey also try to clear some area of Syria from the terrorist organizations such as like YPG or those kind of or his allies organization, terror organization. So that's the in my opinion, that's the one of the reason or one of the most important reason for Turkey to send their military vehicles or more vehicles to the border area.
Yeah, thank you so much. Starting the first news with you, Islam. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Actually, as we see by this picture, that our camera, Natural TV, put the accent on this big polemic about the S-400. They think that S-400 it's better than American Patriot system. What do you think about it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what people argue. So many military experts, they said the S-400 is better patriotic. I mean, like the system is better than the American patriotic system. We can argue like the American patriot system is still using the so many American allies country like Israel. They are using the patriotic system which is taking from USA. So in that side, like we are seeing the S-400, this system is going to buy by Turkey and also India. So this fact, it shows the S-400 is possibilities and it's the reality is much better than the American patriotic system and American defense system even. So that's the issues really, and the reality is really true. From so many background like the how S-400 is working and the success rate of 400. Even this the one Indian military expert, he also said like this, the S-400 is much better than the American patriotic system. Even we know that how Turkey is giving so much importance to S-400. Whatever the other countries like USA said, if you buy this we will make sanction, but they said no, it's a done deal and we will buy this because they knows this the S-400 is much better than American patriot system.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's continue with you, Islam, about PKK terrorist as an organization. What's the benefit for about this big event actually? Do you have some details?
Yeah, as we see, like this, there is a kidnapped guy. I mean, he's a shepherd slain, kidnapped by the PKK terrorist organization. I have to mention again that PKK is a listed terrorist organization announced and stated by Turkey, European Union, some countries like Germany, French, even also the USA.
Yes.
So this PKK organization, I mean this terror organization, they are kidnapping so many civilians of Turkey like since 30 years. Even I want to include one more thing, that more than 40,000 Turkish civilians, including the soldiers, Turkish normal civilians, they died, killed and murdered by this terrorist organization. So it's an ongoing process of this terrorist organization to try to make morally defeat the Turkish citizen and the Turkey, and they're working in a broader area, and this is the one of just example of them, what we can say, like they are kidnapped one shepherd slain from the border area.
Especially it plays a big role actually for neutralization of terrorists.
Yeah, that's the what actually the Turkish soldier, I mean the Turkish army or Turkish defense sector, they're taking so many initiatives against this terrorist organization, and it shows, yeah, of course they're neutralizing so many PKK members or groups, or when they're helpers or assisting whoever helping them, and they're neutralizing them. So this shows like, yeah, that they are really neutralizing them, and Turkish soldiers, they are doing their best to minimize this kind of problem. I mean, even the Turkish soldier security forces, they make if you say land-state operation to find out this kidnapped shepherd slain from the border area who were kidnapped by PKK. So those kind of stuff, yeah, of course it's very much good things and good initiative from Turkish side to neutralize and to minimize this kind of problem, whatever coming from the border.
Good. Actually, I'd like to ask you, do you think that as an organization PKK, it can resist for facing this this problem actually?
The fact is, this kind of terror organization, their main establishment is not about less continuing or something. This kind of organization, they're continuously help or taking their help from the abroad or like from other countries. So that's why we can argue or we can say like, yeah, they can sustain. But the fact is, this terror organization, they have some target or they have some issue. That's what they want to achieve, but it's really impossible to achieve like what the PKK terror organization, they said, like the independent Kurdistan in Turkey or like those kind of stuff, which is really impossible. So from one side, if we see, and it's impossible because like Turkey is a sovereign state and they will never ever give this kind of opportunity to other or this kind of terror organization. But on the other hand, like we can include or we can add that some foreign countries who are really helping or who are assisting this kind of terror organization by some extent, it can sustain in that way, but it will not be successful. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Islam, let's continue with the next news. Do you think that the ambassador of America has the right to select his ambassador to Turkey?
Yeah, of course, like it's a normal process, like in any countries, it's not about US. For any country, like in the world, like they can appoint their ambassador for their it's a normal process, a government process or diplomat process to appoint a diplomat for 3 years or 4 years. It doesn't matter for any country's process, and US, they can appoint their ambassador for Turkey or whatever in the world, because it's their national interest and it's their process, I mean government process, they can appoint.
Which means it's not just for Turkey.
No, of course it's not just for Turkey, but yeah, the fact like from some special issue what is going on with of course about the reality now, the Turkish and or actuality Turkey and USA relations, as we see like Turkey and USA are nowadays relations are not that much good, especially that when the Turkeys try to buy S-400 from Russia, the relation is going to be more worsen, and I mean it's a ups and down relation. So in that time that US is changing their diplomat and is changing their ambassador, it means like they are appointing some better ambassador. Maybe like in one hand we can say,
they
because like
another, yes.
The new ambassador he is Mr. David Satterfield. He's a senior diplomat of USA. So it shows like of course they have a better target. I mean to make good negotiation or to make a good diplomatic how we can say mediation and negotiation with Turkey, and that's why there will be possibilities to say like, yeah, they are appointing this new diplomat for this reason.
Yes, actually my second question for you, when we talk about Turkey and America, how is the relationship between them, diplomatic relationship?
As I say, like from historically, especially in Turkish Republic, if we say if we mention the Turkey and US relation, supposed to be a very good relation. Yeah, Turkey they have a very ups and down relation. Sometimes they have a very good relation with Russia. Sometimes they have a very good relation with USA. But you know, in the time of Cold War, like in the time of two blocks like USSR, Soviet Union, and also on the other hand Turkey, USA. In that time, in Turkey, they just moved their policy, they moved their everything from, you know, communist bloc to the capitalist bloc, and we know that the capitalist bloc means the USA, and they have a very good relations with the USA till we can say that to 2014. They have a so many extent, Turkey and USA, even still now Turkey and USA, they have a so many good relation, strategic relations. But what we see the recently, especially after the military coup in Turkey, even the Turkish involvement in Syria, even the Turkish relationship and strategic relationship with Russia, it shows that Turkey and USA, they have some difference in some national interest. So yeah, but in international politics and international relations, it's very normal between two countries, relation between two countries, negotiation or mediation is very normal for we can say the ups and down relation. So it doesn't matter like yeah, it shows like the future Turkey and USA relation will be very bad or worse. No, it doesn't matter, because if you see like even yesterday, like Turkish president His Excellency Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he also met with the American President Donald Trump in a G20 meeting in Japan. So it shows even they have a very good, I mean, cooperation. As we see the picture and even also the news, it shows like they talk so many issues. Even today, when the Turkish President press conference to the journalist, he said like the American President, he is concerned about Turkish buying the S-400 system from Russia. So it shows like yeah, there is a ups and down relation. There is some facts. It's neither Turkey can ignore this nor USA can ignore this. So this is the reality, because what is going on from geostrategically from Turkish background, this is the fact, and Turkey cannot ignore it, even also US cannot ignore it. And Turkey, of course, they will focus for their national interest. They will not care that what other countries said and what other countries object for Turkey. So for this reason, I mean like yeah, there is some bad relations now with USA, but the future maybe it will not be like this, because in future in international politics, every country, they are only focus their national interest, and for national interest, one country can be their friends today, tomorrow they will be enemy, and tomorrow the enemy country can be the friends in the next day. So it's normal.
Yes, it's normal. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Actually, Islam, by this painful picture, actually, our camera Natural TV put the accent on this, the polemic. It's the biggest polemic during all this week. It always causes by the immigration, and we suffering from a lot recently these years. Especially, we have recorded a hiatus about immigration, irregular immigration. Actually, do you have some details about this big event in Ankara? Yes.
Yeah, Miss Aisha, I just want to say, you know, this picture, it shows everything, and it's telling everything that what is going on by the name of refugees and also migration, or irregular migrants who want to go other countries, whatever, especially they are going to other country illegally. But you know, what is going, or what means to the picture is very unfortunate and very sad. As I follow like so many people, whatever in social media or even the media sector, they are crying. I mean, very sad about this issue, what is going on.
But I think, sorry, but I think that the politicians, men, they don't care about it. Especially that Donald Trump recently, he refused any kind of immigration. We face the same events like last week. So we always facing this problem actually, but I think that all the politicians, they don't care about it. We don't have a plan for avoid this phenomena actually.
Yeah, in one hand, yeah, it's right. And the politicians, they don't care. Especially you mentioned about American president. The reality from America, there, I mean, the Donald Trump or like his political party, they're carrying their national interest maybe, and but the reality is what is going on. Like, you know, the guys, they are coming from the South America, we can say the Latin American country, El Salvador, and he and his daughter daughter died in the river of Rio, like near to the Mexico.
Like the Mexican,
yeah,
the Mexico and
they
America.
Are going to actually try to go enter in USA through the Mexico. You know? And it's very normal because you know the Trump administration, they're always telling like they want to build a wall in border area, you know, Mexico and USA border. So they just want to protect try to make some place or some things that the migrants cannot come to the USA. Especially that's why the journalist or some people asked to the president of USA, he said like that illegally they can come to our country, but illegally will not give them rights or anything. But the fact, you know, for migrants it's really impossible to go other countries legally because they are migrants. If they can go to some countries legally, then they will not be actually migrants, because we know that even also European Union or USA, they have so many conditions, and you have to fill up this if you want to go to that countries, to fill up by this kind of migration issue or like refugee issue. So for who are migrants, it's really impossible for them to fill up every condition and to go to that countries. I mean, they are how I can say, the host countries what they want to go.
Yes, I hope that we will never see this picture again and again.
We hope so, of course.
Yes,
of course, we
so
hope
painful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Opposition Republican People Party (CHP) mayoral candidate Ekrem İmamoğlu held a press conference as unofficial results were announced in River Mayoral Rair in Istanbul. In a new report that blames Saudi Arabia for Jamal Khashoggi's killing, a United Nations human rights expert has provided a minute-by-minute account of the journalist executions and the December inside of Kingdom's consulate in Istanbul, Turkey's largest city. Those details, based on Turkish intelligence audio recordings, make for grim reading. The recounting or of Washington Post columnist suspected killers discussed cutting up and transporting a body as they waited for what they called the arrival of a sacrificial animal. Let's continue with you, Islam, especially about this title. Actually, do you think that the S-400 actually it will arriving in next July? So do you think it makes the situation more better if it will come?
The issue, you know, S-400 is a more discussing issue since the first month of this year. You know, because when the Turkey they announced that they are going to buy S-400 from Russia, the issue, the US they didn't take it easily, and they said like if Turkey bought it, they will make sanction on Turkey. And you know, Turkish president, he announced in Turkish parliament that Turkey is going to take this S-400 system in July, I mean the next month. So of course it will make more stable Turkey, because you know, the Turkish border, as we are talking so much about this issue, what Turkey is facing in their border area, they have so many problem and crisis. Even also they have to manage and they have to control so many terrorist organizations what they are facing continuously threat for them from them. So it shows like they need S-400 or this kind of system to protect their land, to protect their sovereignty, and to protect their civilian. So you know, of course I can argue and I can ensure you that the S-400 system and S-400 weapon, when Turkey will buy this, it will make Turkey more stable and more stable Turkey in future.
Thank you so much. Mushir al-Misri from Hamas officials held a press conference yesterday. Nazmülİslam's US-led conference in Bahrain ahead of unveiling the economic portion in its back-channel Middle East peace plan known as Deal of the Century during the June 25-26 conference. Hundreds of thousands of people have been forced from their homes in northeastern rise of the Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) in the past 2 weeks, escaping a wave of resurgent inter-ethnic violence that killed more than 160 people, including babies and young children, hacked to death. The United Nations Refugee Agency on Tuesday expressed deep alarm over the flare-up in violence in the DRC Utiriza province, which it said has seen multiple attacks involving the Hema and Lendu groups since early June. Attacks between the two communities had also displaced some 350 million in late 2070 and early 2000 AD, killing about 300 people before a tense calm took hold. Okay, let's continue, Islam, with you by this title. Actually, when as we see by the picture, so we know the event about the camping in Syria and the problem, the worms. So they facing a lot of problem, but I can understand 8 or maybe 9 children from Australia. What they doing here in the camp, and what the relationship between Australia and Turkey actually?
Okay, the main important issue, like the Australian children, those children they came with their family. The families, they are involved with IS, Islamic State, like what's the Daesh, that's a normal state. This family, they came to the Syria and involved with them and fight against that's what we know, that they announced Caliph or those kind of stuffs. By this way, these children, they came. Now, this Australia, they said we should not actually avoid the children. Okay, the family, because the most of the family members or their father or mother, almost 8 children, they were evacuated from IS or from Islamic State territory, or what we know in Syria and Iraq. And those 8 children, out of these 3 children are orphan. And the Australian administration, they said like we should not give we should not give those children in that terrorist or in that terrorist or in that state, because it's really problematic for their future. So they said like, okay, their family may be involved with this terror organization, but we should not give punishment to the children for their family or for their mom or for their parents. So they are taking them to their country. They are planning to back to their country, make Australia, back them and just try to make their good future in a good way. Yes. And as you are telling about this Australia and Turkey relation, yeah, it's true. Like this is really totally another issue. Because in this news we see this the focus is they are taking the children, but from the area of international relations, Australia and Turkish relation is really good. I mean, even this Turkey and Australia, they opened the one group, their international group, it's named MIKTA, where the Turkey and Australia, they are both are the member of that organization, and they are doing really great business and trade by this organization. They have focused so many things, especially to develop each other country's economy. I just want to mention again the MIKTA, the Mexico and Indonesia, then Korea, South Korea, and Turkey and Australia. These 5 countries, they organize this group and they are member of this group. And those 5 countries, they try to develop their own relations, and make some new order in the global economy. This we are following. We are seeing this what European Union or also the other Western Bloc countries make the capitalist economic system in the world order. So the Turkey, they are now focusing from other perspective, and they are opening this new group MIKTA. And in this group, Australia also the member, and the Turkey and Australia, they make some new initiatives, some new way to develop their economy, to develop their trade.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Chinese development projects in Africa must be sustainable. The government stopped deployment told senior African ministers on Tuesday as he denounced outside forces who seek the vilified cooperation by accusing China of creating debt traps. Chinese President Xi Jinping pledged $60 billion to African nations at the China-Africa Summit on Cooperation in September, matching the size of funds offered at the previous summit in Johannesburg in 2015. Beijing has denied engaging in debt trap diplomacy, and it said in September government from Chinese interest-free loans due by the end of the year would be written off the poorest African nations. The Somali National University has held its first graduation ceremony in more than 3 decades. In the university based in the capital, Mogadishu was shut down in the early since 1990s after the breakout of civil war and unrest. Reopened in 2014, more than 130 graduates were awarded degree certificates during Monday's ceremony. In 2014, only 550 students applied to the university, but in 2018, that number increased to 5.070. Many students have expressed their concerns about security. Okay, Islam, actually by this picture, I'm wondering if, for example, if two countries want to make a plan, that's like political transition plan, what the first step they should focus on actually?
Yeah, but I just want to say something like what is going on in Sudan. You know, like last couple of days, what is going on in Sudan is almost like it shows like there is so much
Sudan.
crisis.
Yes.
I mean, the crisis, even, you know, the one day almost more than 100 people killed by the military.
Yes.
And you know, the Sudan's background is almost like same the other countries like Egypt or other military or authoritarian based country, even the Tunisia or Algeria. They are facing also the same problem. So after this kind of crisis, now the Ethiopia, they are telling to the Sudanese current military interim government. It's not actually interim government, that's the military council. They are now controlling the Sudan, because after the Bashir, he withdraw his power from the government. Now there is only military council. They are control the whole country. So Ethiopia said, okay, that the protesters who are in the street and protest against the military, the Ethiopia, they suggest to the civilian and also to the military, okay, there can be interim government, and this interim government can be divided or can be possible by two way. I mean, this military and also civilian. The civilian and military can organize or can administrate the government till the election. I mean, before the election it can happen, but you know, the civilians from the Sudan, they accept it. I mean, the civilian leader, I mean the civilian groups, they said, okay, we accept the offer what the Ethiopia said, the political transition. But till now, the military council of Sudan, they didn't say anything. And it shows actually the civilians, they try to actually make some negotiation and peaceful situation for Sudan, but we are still not clear actually what will be happen. And though it's a really good process and a good suggestion for to make a peaceful situation of Sudan, because we see the protest is continuing. It's almost like going to be 1 month. It's still the protest is ongoing, and it's not good for any country's economy or political development. They should find something. Even if they don't, if they can find something, it means their military is taking another autocratic government for Sudan, and it will not be also good for Sudanese civilians, Sudanese people and their future. So what's the Ethiopian's government or Ethiopia suggested for political transition is really, for me, or in my opinion, is a really good way for resolving this
some
crisis.
problems. Yes,
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Like many of her compatriots, 11-year-old Rahaf is a victim of serious brutal civil war, forced to drop out of school to provide for her family and leave her dream of becoming a teacher behind. As her father is sick, she provides for her life, younger siblings and parents by selling biscuits on the street of all Babs in city in the country's north. I leave the house at 11 a.m. and return in the evening around 10 p.m. I sell 2 boxes of biscuits a day. I go to shops, to cars. Some people buy them, some don't, said Rahaf. Her family moved to Al-Bab after they were forced to leave Deir ez-Zor province when their home was destroyed, while conflict, displacement and violence have become part of daily life in Syria. Many children have been forced to assume the role of family provider. Ultra-Orthodox protesters near the central bus station in Jerusalem against the conscription of a seminary student to the military. Demonstration was over the arrest of a number of women who attempted to stop cars intending to enlist in Jerusalem draft office. As we're seeing by this picture, actually is the atmosphere of election in Mauritania. So my first question for you is, how's the election in Mauritania?
This announced that there will be election, Mauritanian national election, but there is some issues is going on between the government party and opposition party. Because there's the current president, we mean the president previously, he said like his successor will be the president for Mauritania because it will be the good for Mauritania future. Especially he said that for Western Africa, to make a stable Western Africa and to make a stable Africa, to be stable Mauritania, the successor of the previous president, it is very important. And that's why the opposition party, they said like it shows like there will be irregularities because the opposition party, they are feared like, okay, the government the president said like, okay, the successor of his party will be the another president in future election. So if it is like this way, he already announced it before the election. So it means the opposition party feared like, okay, there will be no election, it will be just by the name of the election, because they are feared like that there will be irregularities, there will be stealing the vote, and there will be so many problems. And that's what actually the atmosphere, that's if I want to especially mention about the Mauritanian election.
Yes, thank you so much. Oil prices climbed around 3% on Thursday amid escalation tension in the Middle East after a USA military drone was shot down by Iranian forces. The drone was brought down in international airspace or the Strait of Hormuz by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. A USA official said on Thursday, speaking on condition or anonymity, Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard force said the American aircraft was shot down after flying into Iranian airspace in the southern province of Hormuzgan. The different accounts couldn't be immediately recognized. Tension have been rising in the Middle East after last week's attacks on 2 tankers near the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for oil supplies. This is the end for our news today. Thank you for your attention and always staying close to Natural TV, Ankara, Turkey.